Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Next, the show where we talk about reinvention, lifestyle freedom, and creating a life you actually want to wake up to. I'm Stacy Riska, your lifestyle and franchise matchmaker, here to help you do what you love and love what you do. Today, we're talking about something that most people get wrong when they're thinking about business ownership. A lot of folks believe that success comes from a great idea, perfect timing, or a strong gut instinct.
Welcome to What's Your Next. This is the go-to podcast for aspiring business owners who want to get to the next level, escape the rat race, and give their middle finger to the corporate 9-to-5. If you want financial freedom, work-life balance, and the business of your dreams, you're in the right place. Dave and Stacy Riska, husband-wife franchising duo, openly share their successes, failures, and lessons learned in franchising, business ownership, and working with your spouse.
But my guest today has built his work around the opposite belief. He believes that ownership is something that you can learn, follow, and systematize, and not guess your way through it. Joining me today is Tim Street, founder of Foolproof FSBO, which is FSBO. And for those of you who don't know what that means, for sale by owner, Foolproof FSBO. Tim has spent years in the world of real estate investing and business deals, helping everyday owners and investors understand where money is often lost. His focus is on creating simple systems that make ownership more predictable and far less risky. So whether you're thinking about buying a business, investing in real estate, or exploring franchises, this conversation is about doing things in the right order so you're not relying on hope as a strategy. Let's dive in. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Oh, Stacy, it's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much. I love that intro. I love what you talk about reinvention. It is kind of like what I've built so much of this. I guess I'm in the second act of my life. I guess that what is the old saying? There's three acts to every life. I think I'm in act two. Charitably speaking, I might look like act three, but I feel like I'm in act one, still. So I'm going to split the difference there. How's that sound?
That's perfect, because now I want to know more, because I always joke, although I'm saying it seriously, I'm in the last quarter of life. So let's back up a little bit to your first act. It sounds like you've had some interesting paths and journeys that got you to where you are today. Kind of paint the picture, like what were you doing? What was the aha moment when something changed that got you to create this company you own?
Yes, I mean what you let off of there is hope is not a strategy. Hope is what you do when you don't have a plan, right? And that's kind of how I've run my life. Like in the first act of my life, I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and didn't have any kind of a future there. It was just not a great. It's a good place to be from. I'll put it that way, because I now live in Florida, and I love being here. So I'm glad I'm from Detroit. So I went right to the Marine Corps out of high school, became a federal air marshal right after that, and then while I was doing that, some friends of mine started up some small companies, some small tech startups. And they were geniuses. They were so smart and they were so great at design and everything, but they were horrible at talking to people. Whereas I was terrible at technology, but darn was I good at talking to people. So we ended up having a great synergy there, and it was so fun to build just great businesses with the best friends I've ever had. And yeah, after enough time passed, I got tired of living out of a suitcase. I decided, and for the real estate investors who are in your audience like me, they're going to laugh their butts off at me when I tell them this. I decided I want a lower stress life, so I decided to become a real estate investor. Oh my gosh. Yeah, out of the frying pan into the fire. And so after doing that, I got my real estate license as a result of that, because I just wasn't thrilled by having an intermediary between me and the deal. And then after that, I ended up becoming an agent. And now, full circle, here I am. I'm still kind of technically a licensed agent, but I don't take deals anymore. All I'm interested in doing is teaching people that they're incredible. They have such genius in their heads on the content of what it means to sell a home. You know, gosh, I could tell you a billion things about my home because I've lived in it. But a real estate agent probably couldn't tell you. And so I'm just trying to awaken the average American out there to say, listen, you have so much potential. You know, don't listen to what everybody tells you. You're crazy. You can't do it. You absolutely can. We just got to get you the blueprint. And that's why I'm here today.
Great. Well, I want to dive deeper into that. And you have experience from starting a business, and now you're helping others kind of leverage probably their most valuable asset, their home, right? Without all the stress and unpredictability that goes with that. But people who are, I talk to a lot of people who are interested in real estate and investing and maybe even business ownership, but they're concerned like there's some level of risk. And you have to you mentioned it, even like taking a leap of faith. So talk about the mindset that revolves around that. Like, how do you get the confidence to ultimately say yes and take the leap and do it?
Great question. So what I've had to kind of realize is, as a real estate agent myself, I'm complicit in what I'm about to tell you, and I'm not proud of it, but my industry, we have spent billions and billions of dollars over decades of time running an operation to get people to believe that selling your home is scary and you're not qualified to do it and you shouldn't do it and you're going to lose money or you're going to get sued. And so a lot of times when I hear very popular messages, I always got to wonder, well, who's benefiting from telling me that? Who's benefiting from keeping me scared? Because I got to tell you, today, the average house that's sold in the United States is around $500,000. And the average commission is somewhere, there is no set commission, as we all know, but it's somewhere around 6%. I mean, that is $30,000. So imagine all the money that is stood to be sacrificed by the real estate industry if people wake up and they realize, gosh, I can do this on my own. So the first thing that people have to realize, it's not really necessarily a leap of faith. It's just pay attention. Gosh, ask yourself some very simple questions. Who knows more about your home? Look, when I was in the startup space and I was selling technology into Fortune 10 companies, we were in rooms that we had no business being in. It was me and a few guys in a closet working, but we presented ourselves as, and sometimes we would win. I mean, I was as surprised as you would be. And sometimes we'd walk out with a signed contract. We couldn't believe it. But I say all that to say this, the reason why we were so good is two things. Number one, we had high emotional intelligence. We were able to empathize with the other side of the table and understand what their real goals were. But number two, there was nobody that put more time into becoming subject matter experts. And by dint of you waking up in that home every day and drinking coffee in the kitchen, watching the sprinklers come on, knowing which blinds to close when the sun is beating in on you and you're trying to eat dinner and you don't want to be blinded. You folks, whether you're investors, whether you're homeowners, I can promise you, you know more about that home than I would if I was your real estate agent walking through with a clipboard for a half hour, trying to piece things together from A to Z. And this is something you have to realize. You guys are so empowered. You're so strong. You're so smart. You just need somebody to explain that to you.
Well, it sounds like you have a system to help people do this. It kind of is in your name, Foolproof FSBO. So I'm curious, like, how did that name evolve, and what kind of system do you have that's helping people?
So it's my system is it's all about taking a very complex problem, because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to anybody. It is not easy. It is simple, but it's not easy. And what I mean by that, running a marathon is simple. It's putting one foot in front of the other for 26.2 miles, but it's not easy by any stretch. So the old saying is, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. Well, this is how we break down this process. There's a lot that goes into it, sure, but it is all broken down into bite-sized pieces. It involves understanding how homes are priced. It takes lessons that I learned from my startup days, and it brings them to today, where now we're taking these lessons that we learned in a billion-dollar industry and we're bringing it down something to sell a $500,000 asset. But guess what? Those consumer psychology hacks that we learned, those buyer behavior habits, those things that people just do when they enter a purchase decision, They're identical. Whether you're selling a software as a service platform into Amazon, or you're selling a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom house on a cul-de-sac, understanding what makes the buyer brain tick, understanding how to become attractive, how to stand out in a crowd, because people are comparison shopping your homes. It means, how do we actually become memorable in the buyer's brains, and how do we increase the scarcity and the urgency so that we increase the chances of having a bidding war on the property. All of these things I teach, and I love doing it. And nothing makes me happier when I see somebody who's able to move on with their lives in a better fashion because they were able to learn the skill and save a ton of money doing it.
Yeah, I want to dive deeper into that because you talk about people who look at this process. They're losing money on the beginning of the deal, and they're losing money on the end of the deal. What does that mean, and how do you help them not make that happen?
Yeah, I have sat on the other end of the table at closings when I was representing somebody, and even though and all of my listings sold for above asking, and that was something my wife and I were very proud of. We really worked hard to position these homes in a way that caused buyers to fight over them. So the way that that actually manifested itself is the rest of the market was selling at about an 89% list to sold price ratio, which means people are getting about 89% of asking price. Liz and I were at 102.3% list to sold price ratio. And we were usually off the market in the first weekend when everybody else was taking about 90 days to sell. Now, the reason we were able to do that is because we understood the process of how do you get people to fight over that home. So the first thing I talk about with folks is pricing. And I have to burst a lot of bubbles when I say this, but I'm sorry to tell you that nobody cares about what you want for your house. Nobody cares about what you need for your house. Nobody cares that you saw your kids take the first steps or play on the tire swing, or that your Uncle Bob helped you build that deck out back. Sentimental value does not translate into dollars and cents when you're in a competitive market. What people do is they look at, okay, I need a 3 bed, 2 bath home that's 1,800 square feet. And they look at all of those, and whatever one is the least expensive gets first look. I mean, we've all shopped on Amazon. That's basically how we pick out everything on Amazon, right? We all try to find the right characteristics and then find the least expensive one and make sure it checks our boxes. And if it does, that's the one we make a move on. So, by teaching people how to price strategically, by becoming the one that people look at first, it doesn't mean you're ever going to take less. It doesn't mean you're going to accept less. Actually, what it means is you're probably going to take more, because the more people you have wanting that, it's just social proof. It's raw consumer behavior. It's watching two toddlers fight over the same toy that has been completely ignored in the closet for the last 6 months because one person wants it. And sadly, I got to tell you, Stacy, none of us have grown up. We're still all toddlers in our mind, but that works to our advantage too in sales.
Absolutely. It sounds to me like from the many people that you've helped, there are some great stories there. Like I want to hear the transformation, the before and the after, because I can relate to this. I own a home. I'm in the process of going to have to put my house on the market. So everything you're saying, I can totally relate to. So paint the picture for me. What's the before and what's the after of somebody who might be considering working with a realtor, but may instead go with your system, right? The foolproof FSBO system. It's like a mouthful to say that.
I know I'm definitely not a branding genius here, but I should have made it a lot more simple. Here's the transformation that I want people to take home with them. I don't care who you are, where you are, what you're doing. I want you to remember there's a couple things very key here. Number one, you are the subject matter expert at your house. And number two, you love your family more than any hired real estate agent does. You're going to fight harder. You're going to negotiate better. You're going to do what is truly best for you and your family. I can think of several times as a real estate agent where sometimes my incentives weren't aligned necessarily with the incentives of my client. There were times where you would be tempted to take a deal that you're like, you know what? It's quick. They've got cash. They're ready to close right away. Yeah, he's going to take less, but it would be good to get this out of the way. And you have to kind of fight that bad guy voice. You got the angel on one side and the devil on the other on your shoulder. And you have to kind of fight that and remember that, hey, you're the fiduciary of this person, which means you are contractually and ethically obligated to act in that person's financial best interest. But see, when you do this on your own, you don't have to worry about that. You're representing yourself. Now, I will say, Stacy, is that there are times when hiring a real estate agent is probably the best move you can make, or to put it another way, trying to do this by yourself would be the dumbest that you could ever do. And that is if the home ever has any kind of legal entanglements. For example, a divorce, maybe somebody passed away, it's in probate. Maybe there's a judgment against it, a mechanics lien. The other time is, let's just pretend that somebody's a cardiologist and they're making $30,000 a day. Well, I'm not going to say, hey, Chuck, you should probably take a week off of work where you're generating that kind of money to maybe save $30,000 in commissions. Obviously, that doesn't make sense. So if for those cardiologists in the audience or amazing surgeons out there, yeah, please hire an agent. It's the best thing for you. And never, ever try to DIY the legal side of things. Always work with a real estate attorney or a title company, because that would be the surest way to ruin this great ride would be to see you like lose it in the legal side of things, which is a very real concern.
Absolutely. And so you're right. There's a lot to think about when it comes to the whole real estate process. And so people in the audience, they may be curious now thinking, FSBO, you're right. I do know my house better than anybody. I have some confidence in myself. I could go out and tell people about it and sell it, but it's all like I call it the messy middle, all the things in between. So how does your system then guide them through or give them confidence that they can do this?
So it depends on, if you're a homeowner is one thing. I'm actually, I got into this space because I became a real estate investor, obviously. And the reason I love this program for my fellow investors is because if I, as a retail homeowner, like my mother and father, if they sell their home by themselves and they save $30,000, hey, that's awesome. They get to go on another couple of cruises this year. They get to have a good time in their retirement. But if I, as an investor, I use leverage. So every dollar I save in a transaction that trickles down to my side of the P&L after a closing, guess what? That's not just a dollar. That's maybe $10 or $100 that I'm going to lever in my next transaction. See, investors, they approach this differently. They don't just say, oh gosh, that'd be nice to have another $30,000. I'll go put, rims on my car, a new stereo, and something like that. They think, holy smokes, with a $30,000 down payment, I could get into another $300,000 asset. And now and that's why this is so valuable to me. And this is why I tell my fellow investors out there, please do not just hit the default button, because we've all just kind of been trained. Hey, when it's time to sell your house, you call an agent, you take the hit that they're going to give you. You hope that they're good and they know what they're doing. You hope that they know how to price your home in a way that's going to get a lot of offers. The averages out there tell us that they're not, but let's just hope against hope that they're one of the good ones. And then we go on to the next thing. And I'm saying to the investors out there, I mean, homeowners especially too, but especially the investors, my gosh, we have such a huge opportunity to really capitalize on that transaction to make sure our next one, we have so much more seed money going into it. And that's where I really, really get excited.
Wow. Okay. So I was misunderstanding. I thought it was more a program to help one person sell their house, but you've made it broad. It's for real estate investors, people who want to grow and scale really a real estate investing business.
Well, Stacey, actually, you didn't get it wrong. I just kind of, as an investor and a homeowner, I've been through it both times. So I've designed this program in a way that will help both groups of people. It really, yeah, there's not really a bad, the only bad fit for this, like I said, is somebody who's either too busy, they make too much money at their day job, or they just, their house isn't a good candidate because it's in some sort of a legal issue. Other than that, my gosh, if you're, here's my dream. My dream one day is that I'm going to get an email from a family who says, listen, because of you, we were able to start a college education fund for my child. Or because of you, my parents were allowed to retire on time. That's what I'm about at this stage of my life. Is I really don't care about the commission checks anymore. I've walked away from that life. I don't really care about, I have an amazing life and a beautiful family. I've just been so blessed in every measure. And so now this is about me, like, okay, what kind of impact can I make on people who will never meet me? They will never know me, but what good things can I put out into the world?
Yeah. I love that. And same with me, people I talk to who are looking to get out of the corporate grind, they want more meaning, more impact. And they're like, can I please trade meetings for meaning?
Yes.
And so it sounds like, that's something you're relating to as well. So, when you're talking about real estate, investing, FSBO, it's all about the deal, making the deal. Yeah. But you've got to have the systems and the processes in place to get to the deal. So how can you ensure that, that you get that right, that you're not missing anything. Because I'm thinking about what you do related more to franchises, which are all about it's a proven system and you follow the
Yeah.
system and, you'll have success at the end of the rainbow. Is your model kind of similar? You got to do things in a specific order and then the deal will come through at the end.
Yeah, it's funny too, because when you're asking me that question, I'm like, wait a second, you already asked me that in a much different way, and I forgot to answer. So I apologize for that. I'm not the best guest here. So, um, but anyway, yes, absolutely. I systematize everything. So I tell people two things. Number one, you don't ever have to pay me a dime for anything. I give this away for literally for free on my YouTube. I give it away on Facebook. It's just out there. I'm out there running my mouth every single day, giving people everything I know. Now there are people out there who have approached me in the past, and that's why I did design my course, because some people were like, Tim, I can't sit around and watch 20,000 hours of YouTube videos. I have 8 hours a day, and 3 of them I'm willing to devote to this. You got to tell me what to do, when to do it. So for them, I built an actual blueprint. It literally is called the Foolproof FSBO Blueprint. And it starts at step 1 and it takes you through step 9. And we teach you how to get your home ready on the market in as little as 7 days. And you're going to be able to start taking offers. You're going to be competitively priced. And we're going to teach you everything that I did as a successful real estate agent, where I got those incredible results. And it's literally yours. And I also meet with everybody once a week on our Facebook group, answer live questions. The point is you're never going, that messy middle part, you're never going to have to navigate that alone. Whether it's myself whether it's myself helping you or another homeowner who's been there and done it already, we all kind of collaborate and try to get everybody across the finish line.
Kudos. It's amazing. You're helping so many people, achieve their dream. And you've done it in so many different ways. You have simple blueprints, you have tons of videos, you have courses, you have communities. I know my audience is going to be clamoring to reach out to you to learn more. Where would be a good home base to send them to? How can they get in touch with you?
So for the non-investor side of the audience, I actually have a 7-day launch ebook. It's theirs for free. If they just go to foolprooffsbo.com/ebook, that's
Okay.
foolprooffsbo.com/ebook. I will email you the ebook. That's our 7-day launch plan. I would love for you folks to read through that and just kind of say, what could I do this? Because I'm going to say about 90% of you are going to say, yes, you can. And then for the investor side of the house, I actually put together something called an investor power pack, because it spoke to all the questions that I had as an investor when I thought about selling my properties on my own. That's foolprooffsbo.com/investor. So for those two segments of the audience, I would love for you to check those out. And look, there's one thing I want to make real clear here is we leave no man left behind. So if you get there and you find out that, hey, gosh, I would love to do this, but there's no way. I'm working 80 hours at work every week, or shucks, I am going through a divorce. Probably not the right time to do this. That's okay. I actually have a nationwide network of real estate agents that I've already pre-negotiated with. So if you come through me, I will introduce you to them. They've already agreed to reduce their commission rates. So whether you sell on your own with my program or whether you sell through one of my partner real estate agents, you're still going to save tens of thousands of dollars.
You heard it, guys, straight from Tim. I should have prefaced this by saying, get your notepad ready, because so many notes here. And of course, you can go back and rewatch and re-listen to this. Tim, thank you. You provided such value and insights to my audience today. But you're doing so many things, but something tells me you're not done yet. So I gotta ask, the name of this podcast is What's Your Next? So Tim, what is your next?
Oh, great question. I've been working on a book, and I've written a book already. It's just a small little ebook. It was kind of a simple one. This one was a heavy lift. I'll be honest with you, Stacy. There was a couple of times where I'm like, man, what am I even doing here?
Yeah.
Yes, that should be coming out here in the spring. So if it's okay with you, I'll send you a message when I launch it, and maybe you'll like it.
We'll
And,
add author 2-year bio.
There
Absolutely.
you go. But that's what's next. That's what I'm working on. Other than that, it's just about being here, present for my wife and my kids. It's I'm just living such an amazingly, undeservedly blessed life right now that I can't even. Sometimes I have to pinch myself. So I'm trying to put that good feeling I have back into the world, and to the extent that I can do that with people's help, that'd be great. So if anybody's listening to this and they know anybody who could benefit from it, get my information for free on Facebook. It's all Foolproof FSBO is my handle everywhere. YouTube, I put all my educational content out there. I just did a 4-hour video that I launched, and it literally takes you from A to Z. So if you don't want to pay for the course, if you don't want to pay me, you don't have to. I'm not kidding you. When I say I give everything away for free, I literally am giving everything away for free. So check it out. Yeah.
Wonderful. Tremendous value add. I don't even know the term, but beyond super energy that you have, it's clear you do what you love and love what you do with passion and energy. So Tim, you've been a wonderful guest. Thank you for coming on the show, sharing your brilliance and expertise. We will certainly put your contact information below. Please reach out to Tim. He is a tremendous resource, obviously giving and so much for free. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today on another episode of What's Your Next, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.